everybody. This is Steve Coughlin. My band and I, Probable Cause, would like to ask you to tune in to the Paige Roberts radio show. It's a lot of fun. It's on the Intercom Radio Network, and you'll love listening to some great music. And also, my band and I will be in Athens, Georgia on January the 19th at Hendershot. So come on out for a good show.
Hey y'all, this is Danny Kinsey, and you're listening to the Paige Roberts Show on Intercom Radio Network.
Tell you that I grew up with Red Omen, and boy was he a neat kid. He had all sorts of really cool things to play with, like a plutonium spaceship lunchbox and a bathtub full of Legos. And I didn't believe you when somebody said that he fled with Jimi Hendrix to a UFO type base camp up on Machu Picchu. Up on Machu Picchu. I said, excuse me, it's not my fault. He's playing the crime, so he can't get caught. I said, excuse me, I must confess. Well, give me 2 words. Well, in my defense, laughing mad. I'm laughing mad. Laughing mad. There's a red hot stove down in Pittsburgh going out hard like a cherry pie. Call me a fibber, call me a liar, say it to my face, like a cross between Benjamin Franklin and Ian Pace. And I didn't believe the man from MI6 living out in the sticks, who souped up his side by side like Evel Knievel, just like Evel Knievel. I said, excuse me, it's not my fault. He's playing the crime, so he can't get caught. I said, excuse me, I must confess. Well, give me 2 words. Well, in my defense, laughing mad. I'm laughing mad. I'm laughing mad. Laughing mad. Me today, you see my nerves are shattered, tired, tattered, beginning to fray. Just like Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz, realizing only now you're caught in someone else's claws. And I didn't believe in myself if no one else, to be making voodoo music in some small town way up in Canada. Way up in Canada. I said, excuse me, it's not my fault. He's playing the crime, so he can't get caught. I said, excuse me, I must confess. Well, give me 2 words. Well, in my defense, laughing mad. Well, I'm laughing mad. Well, I'm laughing mad. Laughing mad. Hey, did I ever tell you that I grew up with Red Omen? Boy, was he a neat kid.
Good evening and welcome to the Paige Roberts Show. It is Tuesday, November 27th, 2018. I know we're just coming back from our little short break of Thanksgiving. If it's a break anymore, right? We have a lot going on I know we are now. Am a management group. I am EPR management group. So exciting. I'm so excited. Things have really come along, and just a great response on that, and we do appreciate it. And now, January the 13th, I know you heard the probable cause liner in the very beginning. We will be doing a show with them here in Athens, Georgia, at the Vegas Studios. Time to be announced. I don't know the exact time yet, but Vegas Studios is here in Athens, Georgia as well, and management under Clay Henson. He will be doing the filming, and we will be doing live shows. You will be able to see it on Facebook and everything. So, yeah, wow. So without further ado, I'm going to bring on my featured artist for tonight. And I love Ed Roman. I guess everybody knows that now. My favorite Canadian musician. Well, and actually one of my first, I guess, with Michael Stover. I guess we'll go ahead and give a shout-out to Michael Stover, MTS Management Group. He is the one that always sets me up with his singer-songwriters. Ed, how are you? Welcome back. Thank you for calling in.
Hey, well, first off, congratulations on all the hard work that you're doing, Paige, and your PR company, and putting these shows together for people. It's people like you, Paige, that make that part of the music industry work, because it is the envelope that lets people know who we are and what we do and where we're playing and what we're passionate about and our new projects and all those things. So my 10-gallon hat plus my other smaller hat off to you for all your hard work.
Well, I appreciate that. And like we said, our producers, they put in a lot of overtime hours, I know, too. And I know Michael has got his hands full. I know they're snowed under right now, too. Wow.
Well, I don't think there is any downtime in our industry, Paige. I mean, it's sometimes it's all the time, and you just mentioned Thanksgiving, so it's nice to stop a little while, spend some time with family, reflect, maybe even write a few songs. Who knows?
That's it. And I picked up the guitar too now, so I'm going to be joining y'all one day.
Come on by.
Right, I will. I'm learning. I am piano, so the notes aren't difficult to see, right? So the capability is there, I guess. I just like the acoustic sound, Ed.
Well, me too. I mean, a lot of my stuff has real instrumentation in it, and pianos and organs and guitars and banjos and sitars, real drum kits, voice, to me, we could go into some sort of anthropological discussion about what music is. And today, it's an industry based on songwriting and ability and things like that. But it's always been a form of communication and storytelling, even back to primitive times, whether it was we were describing the thrill of a moment or, something that had happened in our ancestral background, to convey a message, to continually sort of talking about who we are as people. I mean, it doesn't matter, what level you are of player or writer. The important thing is that you're expressing yourself. And that's healthy in any art form. It could be pottery, it could be painting, it could be dance, it could be music, as we mentioned. But I think that's good, and that's something that when I see people doing that, and they're like, well, I'm just sort of dabbling, or I just started, or da-da-da, that's good. I mean, we all have our our hang-ups about who we are as people and players, and that's a good thing, too, in a way, because it keeps pushing you forward to learn more and to be happy with how you're progressing.
Well, I'll let y'all know when I'm ready for a concert, but I'm sure that's going to be.
Never say never. You never know. It could be sooner than later. You never know. You never know.
I mean, just look at us now. I mean, wow. Ed, I know how we met, and I dare not say names, but you know, we do go back a ways, and you know, it's just ironic, maybe not, that we are here. And I always say we don't meet by accident, you know. And
no.
I will say Kyler Davenport, because he is, you know, another entity of how the music industry, or how us, the singer-songwriters, have come through that network. I wouldn't be here, you know.
Hey, you know what? And I think that's important, that from whatever level, we recognize that. I mean, I sincerely mean when I say to people, even any show, whether it's like a national broadcasted syndicated thing, or it's somebody running something that's smaller, it's okay, because to me it's all part of the building blocks and stumbling blocks that we need to go through. And you're right. I mean, even with Michael, I met Kyler through Michael. I met Kyler through Kyler. So all those, it's important to recognize those things, and it's really cool when you think about it, because it's all part of growth. The way that you just mentioned, you know, the way that you look at it is beautiful, because it's true. It's important to pay homage to that moment and how you got there. You know, there was an old saying that was said to me once when I started in the entertainment business, which was like, remember, be kind to the people that you meet on the way up, because you're going to meet them on the way down.
I know what. That's funny. But,
yeah.
But Ed, I have been watching Ed, and hopefully everybody else has too. I know we have been talking a lot about the album in past times of Red Omen, but very special album. A long time in the making. Well, I don't know, Ed, and a long time making Red Omen.
Well, yeah, I mean, the album's been out for a while. What I find is great about it is that, like, I mean, sometimes people like to show their hand right away, and you know, as long as the album's been out a couple years now, I've slowly released vignettes, but those 4 vignettes, including the one that I did for Lay One Down, which was for the Veterans Association through Heart Songs through Veterans and Jill Paval, that was all, you know, intended. But always, when I wrote that song and the title track of the record, I always saw it as a cartoon, like in this animated thing. And that's funny. Like, you know, you're talking about the evolution of meeting people. And the same thing goes in so many aspects of your life, even when it comes to creating art. And like writing a song, that song has come through an evolution and a process to get it recorded. But again, when you're writing it, you always have that feeling like, what if it looked this way one day? You know, we had that opportunity and we could make it look a certain way. And because you're thinking about visuals. A lot of times today, you know, can't help it, there's going to be a vignette or a video or something that goes along with the single, and that's great. But I really, you know, a cartoon, an animation of some kind. It took me close to 2 years of knocking on doors, asking people their opinions, even going through some schools and animation programs that were at universities and colleges, trying to find people that would be interested in working on it and doing it. And, you know, again, what came out of this? Well, after I was lucky enough to meet the animator in New York City, Nelson Diaz, he, you know, through this process of creating it and talking about it, and he's a wonderful animator himself. I mean, his background is like, goes to like Sesame Street. We're talking about clients like Disney, and if you've seen Kung Fu Panda 2, that's his work, or the movie Ted, work for Nickelodeon and Teletoon. So I mean, my gosh, I think, okay, cool. Like, other than getting a video made the way that I want it. I have somebody that's excited about the song, and they have this wonderful background of being able to create. Okay.
And
now,
you were really searching it. I know. What did you spend nearly a good year searching for the right person to do that job?
Like hundreds of emails to people, personal emails to people. One person that was sort of on board for a while, and there was the talk back and forth, but then it didn't pan out. A company that I was talking to that had a lot of bigger clients, and they're a bigger house out of Montreal, same kind of a thing. And then there were these outrageous budgets that people were throwing at me, and I'm like, look, I'm an independent artist, and I'm looking to work hand in hand with somebody on a project like this to create something really special. And special for what reason? Okay, it is a video, it's a song, it's on a record, but why? Okay, I'm a dyslexic, and to sort of let everybody know, if they don't know, dyslexia is one of those sort of, I'm not even going to call it a disability or a learning disability, but it's a spatial and dimensional sort of comprehensive way of learning. It's very different than academia in terms of the way that you understand and comprehend through reading and comprehension and those kinds of things. Comprehension isn't an issue with dyslexic. It's just the way that we intake the information. We struggle with the fact that some words are very difficult to pronounce. There's sometimes even an inversion of the way that you see the words, so you're trying to get through the material based on demand, but because of that, you sometimes have to read the material 3 and 4 times because you're struggling with the word material to be able to come up with, well, here's what the paragraph is trying to surmise. And when I was a kid, I struggled a lot in school, and I went to summer school, and I went to special class, and all of those kinds of things that, from a young person's perspective, can weigh heavily on your, self-esteem, all those things that sort of are compounded by, this isn't right, or you have a problem, or we're sending you somewhere special because. And that kind of gives you some sort of an emotional scarlet letter, if you will. And I took it very personally as a kid. And as I got older, I started to come to grips with what it all was. But talking more to people about it and listening to friends and other people that were quite outspoken about it, everybody from actors to musicians, and they're all very convinced that it's a gift. Because one thing about the dyslexic environment, and I kid about it with some of my dyslexic friends, is like, don't say anything to a dyslexic that you don't want them to remember. Because out of the necessity of having to sort of look at things the way that we do, we develop a sort of photographic memory. And in my case, it's helpful because when you're a lyricist and you're remembering lyrics and stuff, you don't necessarily tend to forget them because, again, it goes hand in hand with the sort of storytelling and that spatial, dimensional aspect to comprehension and disseminating information, even for that matter, how you explain yourself. So I reached out through this to the Dyslexia Society. And Michael helped me, and it was amazing. I couldn't have done it without his help, Michael Stober at MTS. And they were very interested in the story. And there are other dyslexic groups, like Made by Dyslexia in the United Kingdom, that are really trying to bring to light the sort of positive aspect to how we think as people, the dyslexic community. Because in many cases, even in the Western Hemisphere, like, for instance, the Davis Dyslexia Society in the United States, his method, Ron Davis's method, is being used in the educational systems in the United Kingdom and the Netherlands and the EU, but it's not in the U.S. And that method has also been adopted by Positive Dyslexia, which is the Canadian version of the Dyslexia Society, and that's Sue Hall. And again, through the educational system in Canada, we don't have those basic things that are ingrained in the early part of young child education. And it's really not a divergence from much of what's already there in academia. In fact, you're augmenting it just by extra things that in some cases can strengthen your concept of perception. So I see it as a good thing. Now that's where I say it's got a bigger than me and, well, what's the the big story here, Ed. It hopefully through this talking about it, all these festivals that we're doing, the lift-off campaigns, eventually screening it in Brooklyn, in New York, where Nelson is a professor at the School of Visual Arts in Brooklyn. We'll have an auditorium of people. We'll be streaming it from there, and that's where we will kick off this fundraising campaign to hopefully raise money, a lot of money, for kids' tutoring programs, but more so, and we were talking off air, it's always fun to talk off air, that it opens up maybe some dialogue to ministers of education here in Canada or people in the United States that have some more socio-political clout about getting that kind of integrated into the system. And I think that's great. For me, having that, as I mentioned, a difficulty in my life, feeling notarized and awarded as a writer and published, struggled through that process, and then able to create an anagram out of my own name, and then at the same time use that sarcastically in a sense, but positively towards a fundraising campaign to help other kids that are struggling. Because there wasn't those methods then. They wanted to put me on Ritalin, and my mom was like, well, what's Ritalin? Well, it's a medication that's going to calm your child down. And my mom's like, because he doesn't want to learn. My mom was like, he loves learning. My son may be very up, and he's all over the place, but that's because he's an excited child. You want to give him pills to suppress his vigor or his verve for life. That's not going to happen. She basically told him to go to hell. And every night for years, my mom sat up with my sister and I both, and did this kind of self-tutoring. But yeah.
Well, you know, out here in the United States, you see so many kids that are on so many dependent, I guess that's what you want to call it, like Ritalin. I mean, it's just overwhelming to hear, you know, of how many kids there are out here that are in your same situation that you were.
Right. Well, and it is. Your statement has a lot of gravity because it is alarming, and it's mood altering, and it has very negative effects biologically, and I'm sure people from the pharmaceutical industry would be ready with a bunch of lawyers to argue that point against me. But I think it says a lot about our social dynamic in our communities. It takes a village to raise a child. It also says a lot about our education systems and what we are providing to a young modern mind. And it's not just the information, but I know from working with kids as a teacher for many years that when you can apply a concept to something tactically that they can use in terms of what do my hands need to do to complete this task, it's not just something arbitrary. Whatever it may be, there's always a task that the mind thinks about and the body has to complete. So whatever that may be, whether it be through mathematics, social studies, history, the problem that I've always felt that I've had through what education represented was this sort of sterile environment to information deliverance. I had 2% in my life, if I'm lucky to say, maybe 3, of teachers that I had through kindergarten, grade school, high school, and college that I would say impeccable because of not just who they were as people, because I really respected them as people, but at how they taught. There were some that went from the textbook. Okay, open your textbook, da-da-da-da-da. Here's what you have to do. You know, you got a 2-hour class if you're on some semester system or something. I'm talking like high school. You know, okay, read this, read that, go do an observation and read 2.4 and da-da-da-da. And then it's quiet and people are sitting around sort of working on things. That's not engaging the people in front of you with the information. And that's where you lose a young, active mind. The active, young, active mind wants that it, not even just the way that it's delivered, but how that what you're talking about can be implicated. Science is fun for that in that regard, because when you talk about some simple experiment, you get behind the counter, get out the Bunsen burner, whatever it is you're going to do. So it's kind of hands-on. But other parts of education don't have that so much, and it's really solely relying on the person and the teacher, and it's sometimes can be a very small percentage. Mm-hmm. But again, I think that's where, if you're seeing a higher percentage of kids on Medicaid, you're medicating them to fit into something that's not engaging them. So how is that engaging them that way? And what are really the statistics then based on, let's say, 60% of the kids at this school are medicated? Are their stats really that much higher? I would doubt it.
Would it be educational to find out how many teachers are they really involved in their students? But like you said, back to the things such as Ritalin and things like that, to quote, calm your child down. Wow. that one special teacher that does take the time out for their kids, do they know what they have?
Well, yeah, and we all have had them. Does the school know what they have? Do the kids know? We probably could reminisce about who those people were in our lives right now. But again, those are really the people that should be writing the curriculum for the school and how it should be taught. Because it's not just about being the kid's friend. Sometimes I've said and done things with students that I don't want to have to do, but I have to. And it's out of, tough love. And at the same time, when I was in those positions as a student, and the teachers that I respected were that way with me, I have even more respect now because they were that way with me. Maybe at the time I was pissed off or something about what was going on or slacking, but I see it now. You see it. And I think that says something for having that sort of steadfastness as a person to be able to, and then to illuminate the positive, in that regard, so that they do feel like they've accomplished something. And again, we could go on talking about that in the education system and stuff like that. But I taught long enough, and I know so many musicians, especially from my field, that still teach today. And they do it not just because it's a paycheck, but they're really good teachers. They're very, very passionate about sharing what that is in our craft with the next person. That's one of the neat things about the industry that I work in, is that there is a lot of that when it comes to the teaching and the student and mentor idea. And then when you get older, it even becomes even more intimate. Some of the teachers that I had in my later life or when I was in college, it's very different than having the band teacher or the music teacher when you're in high school or something like that, and you're in a band of 60 people or 25 people or whatever it is. So it keeps graduating as far as how it changes too. And I've been there too on the other side, mentoring kids to go into college and university. So it's a very special thing because they're not your biological children, but you feel this wonderful sense of, I can't help but not say it, somehow parental victory for them. You've been working with them for 5 years or 3 years or whatever it is, and they're going off. You get that lump in your throat. I've said that even to some of my students. You guys have been like my kids. And it's because I guess I care about the craft and that they love it, right?
Well, that is, and that's understandable too. Well, and I'm not in that category, I guess, but even now, some of the teachers that I've had in high school and beyond are still like that. See them out and about, But
well, that's what I was saying. I think it says a lot about them as people. because even outside of that room, building, whatever, they're very good people. They're amazing people.
Mhm. Now, Red Omen, I know that was a big project, and we've been talking about who Ed Roman is. Do you want to talk about Red Omen?
Tongue twister.
Who is Red Omen?
People have said that a lot. And this song, Red Omen by Ed Roman, and they trip up. And they're like, did I say that right? And I was like, did you do that on purpose? I'm like, well, it just sort of happened on its own. Yeah, I love talking about Red Omen because, again, it's something that's attached to this idea of raising money for kids for positive dyslexia. And I'm just like I'm flabbergasted. Mike Stover, I'm shouting out to him, and if he's listening to the show, Mike, I love you, buddy, because look at the video's been lifting off at film festivals all over the world. Rome, Moscow, Sicily, New York, Los Angeles, New Jersey, Kenya, in Africa.
Wow.
The one that's in Mexico.
We do have those on our analytics as well, so we will say
Thank you.
Hi.
And even your cross promotional support for that in that regard, all those people should be thanking you as well too for having that up. It's just staggering to know that it's being shown at all those places, and there's more to come. When we completed everything, Mike and I and Nelson from New York had a conference call. How do we approach this? What do we do? We've put a lot of time, energy, money into what's going on, and I wanted to make sure that it filtered the right way. Like I said, the album's a couple years old, but that doesn't really matter to me because I'm always writing, and I'm working on a new project right now. And it's getting close to being finished, but that's a whole other story. That Mike said, look, it's going to take a year for us to have it shown, make itself heard, seen at all these different locations, as many as that will accept us. And it just keeps that ball rolling about, what we're trying to do. And it gives me the opportunity to keep talking about it. And, I was kind of like, yeah, I guess a year, eh? That's like staggering to even think, to spend a whole year even before we start asking the public or corporations or anybody like that for money. So... Quite honestly, I've had to be very patient through this whole process, and why I've been kind of quiet and writing behind the scenes is because I don't want to detract from the momentum of it, whether it be weekly, daily, monthly. To me, it's like I want people to almost be like sick of me talking about it and like, I want to see the video already. Where can I see the video? Can I purchase the video? Can I donate to the cause? Can I da-da-da? So, again, it's one of those things where it's like, Ed, be patient because it takes time. I mean, you must have been, and everybody that's listening right now, they could say the same thing. You watch a movie, a documentary, or something like that. You're watching the credits. It was shot 3 years earlier or 4 years earlier. It went through maybe 6 to 8 months of editing. Then it went through a screening process. And then it had to go through distributors and licensing agreements. And then it didn't start to show its face till 3 or 4 years later. And it may have even gone through a small year, or a full year, of the same thing that I'm doing, where you go through these lift-off campaigns or festival circuits to show the film, get people's interest behind it, and then you release it. So it's like I said, I have to be patient because I want to show people the video. I want to hear people's responses. I want to start the campaign now and ask people for money for the tutoring programs. All of that stuff is like I'm a bit of a kid in the candy store waiting for Christmas for when that time comes. So, and then the spring is when we're aiming for all of that, because that's really when we began. And spring is a good time for me. I don't know, somehow as an artist, and I'm sure for a lot of people, get on the stage of winter or whatever, but it has that feeling of like, let's plant the beautiful seed here and nurture it along and let it grow.
That's awesome. Wow. Taking it all in, Ed, producer Michael Zach, I know he worked with you on Red Omen. Like I said, just a lot of man hours, even just putting together the song, and now your production. Wow.
Well, and Mike is like, I've been working with Mike for many years, since 1986, probably.
Wow.
I think. And he's hired me on different projects. I've hired him on different projects. We've worked together, out of a number of different studios. We're just like an old bickering couple, that love each other somehow still. And we have a lot of fun in the studio. And aside from recording and the work that we do in the sort of man-hour time or whatever that we put in, we are just like can talk about pretty much anything. And Mike is a great lover of history, and we're always talking about different things that have happened in the past and their connection to today. And so I don't even think of it as work. I mean, he might, because if he's working in my studio, he's getting in a car and driving an hour to get here. And if I'm doing something in his place, that's vice versa. But I never see it as work, because I'm having fun, first of all, right? Playing the songs, and Mike likes recording. I mean, that's his craft. Mike has been doing what he's been doing and recorded some of the people that he's like for 35, almost 40 years. I'm talking he doesn't want me to say things like this, but he's like Oscar Peterson, Anne Murray, Hilary Duff, Rush, all these like. Bono, he's worked with Bono from U2. Like, I'm talking like crazy people, and he's one of the most beautiful, humble, he likes going out and collecting radios. He's got like one of the biggest antique radio collections I've ever seen in my life. And he even wrote a book about it. So he's like a brother to me. He's like family to me almost. So I'm lucky to be able to have him as a friend and somebody I work with, and also to bounce stuff off of, or sometimes he just lets things flow. You remember last time we spoke? Like, it had to have been almost a half a year ago or something. I think last time I was on the show, he called in. Do you remember that?
Yep.
And we were talking about the production behind the show and the album. Excuse me, but. Yeah, man, I can't thank Mike ever enough for all the stuff that he's done for me. And really, to tell you the truth, you know me well enough because of the kind of shows we've both been on together, and we're in the choir together when it comes to a lot of like sort of world issues and things, Paige. So I don't think I have to. But where was I going with this? Mike, talking about Mike, the album. I lost my train of thought. What was I getting at? You got me all over the place. It doesn't matter. I'm just having fun anyway.
I know it. But Mike, the last time, wow, that was a good show, and I still have that. I think that YouTube finally let me upload it. I don't know what it was that they didn't like about our show, but you know what?
Who didn't like the show?
YouTube. It took me forever to get it up on over there on Intercom Radio's YouTube page, and I'm like, why? It kept rejecting it. I'm like, I kept on, and it's finally over there now.
Maybe because Mike was on and it was a good show and we had a good chat, and that's probably why.
Yeah. But like I said, it took me, I don't know how many times. I guess it finally gave up and said, okay. Very persistent. Well, Ed, I have laid one down. Do we want to play that?
sorry, what was that, Paige? You're breaking up.
I have laid one down and downloaded in my queue. Do we want to play that?
Absolutely, that'd be great.
All right, hold on, and we'll come right back. Here we go. Lay one down. Mm-hmm.
In the morning when it's all over, I'm gonna lay one down. And if I see my brother's been falling, I'm gonna lay one down. Lay one down for my brothers, lay one down for my foes, lay one down for one another, lay one down and let it go. Lay one down and put asunder, lay one down, reap what you sow. Lay one down, it's like butter, lay one down and let it flow. We jump through a hoop while someone is consorting, I'm gonna lay one down. I tell you the truth, but you'd think I was performing. I'm gonna lay one down. Lay one down for my brothers, lay one down for my foes. Lay one down for one another, lay one down and let it go. Lay one down and put asunder, lay one down, reap what you sow. Lay one down, it's like butter, lay one down and let it flow. Lay one down and let it flow. Lay one down and let it flow. You're already falling down, so grab someone on your way up. Carry me. I think the winds have stopped their changing. Higher ground. Drop your things and chase me. Bury me out in the fields where things are blooming. It always comes without warning. I'm gonna lay one down. I leave you in thought, that's all I am reporting. I'm gonna lay one down. Lay one down for my brothers, lay one down for my foes. Lay one down for one another, lay one down and let it go. Lay one down and put asunder, lay one down, reap what you sow. Lay one down, it's like butter, lay one down and let it flow. 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 Let it flow, let it flow. Lay one down and let it flow. Let it flow, let it flow, let it flow. Just let it flow, flow, flow. In the morning when it's all over, I'm gonna lay one.
You are listening to the Paige Roberts Show on Intercom Radio Network. We are broadcasting live off of Blog Talk Radio. Our call-in number is 646-668-8941. I've been talking to Canadian musician Ed Roman, talking a little bit about everything, and I just think it's awesome what Ed's doing. And we have been talking about his album Red Omen. It's a 13-track album. You can listen to it on Spotify. I know I have it downloaded. I finally got my Spotify up and working again. But yeah, I love all the songs, but I'm sure I can be biased, Ed.
Hey, Paige, PM me your mailing address so I can send you down the last 3 albums and a little bit of swaggage.
Awesome. I sure will.
Will you do that? Will you PM me that?
I definitely will.
Great.
Yep.
And thanks for playing that last track too, because that's for Heart Songs for Veterans, so it's nice to have that played.
Yes, and you know, that's what the Paige Roberts Show is, to have our singer-songwriters, whatever we may call ourselves, musicians or artists, come on, and most musicians have something that they're passionate about. Ed's got a lot of things.
Well, and
it's hard to keep up sometimes, Ed.
Well, you know, I like, you know, sometimes people like, you know, you get pretty like worked up about stuff, you know, and I'm like, but it's passion. You know, you know, you ever see that movie, what was it again? Gangs of New York. And there's a scene in that, Daniel Day-Lewis, and he's talking to the mayor. And he's a crazy character. I mean, don't get me wrong. But he walks up to the mayor and he says something as he's got a dagger at his chest. He says something like, I know your works. They are neither hot nor cold. Therefore, they are lukewarm, and I spit them from my mouth. So I like passion, even if it means something hot and feisty, because it means that people care. It means that there's something that is emotionally charging them to the point that there's something very robust that needs to be discussed, and I appreciate that in people. Sometimes people is like, anger management, well, yeah, I mean, anger is one thing. I mean, beating your dog and hitting your children and wife, it's a whole other thing. But being angry about a problem that you don't like is healthy, and airing those kinds of things is healthy. And just like when you say you love something and how much you love it and how much you like participating in it and any of those kinds of things. So, you know, good.
All right. But wow, Ed, after all of this, I mean, do you have something else that, or is that just, does it just automatically happen, or are you constantly thinking of new projects and things to work with?
I am, and I like tinkering with things, and I've got some little inventions that I haven't really shown or talked to many people about that I'm working on, and at the same time, as I mentioned before, I'm working on a new record. It's almost, I'd say, 3/4 of the way through. About 14 new songs. I'm going to be releasing them as singles over the course of a year, but I want to wait again until after this whole campaign is done and the kickoff is off. So again, I'm being patient with all of that material, more material I love to share with people. But again, I mean, yeah, you never know what is going to inspire you or have that fit of creation. And for what purpose? You know, I'm a big proponent of that necessity is the mother of all invention, even when it comes to art. The things that we invent as a result of the necessity to express ourselves is invention. It's, to me, epiphany after epiphany after epiphany, self-realization, self-exploration, looking at the bigger part of the picture, whatever it might be. You know, I was just talking about stuff like this the other day, and it's funny. It's like things come up multiple times sometimes, and you wonder, is there a reason why I'm talking about this or noticing this so much? So it's like, you know, garbage days the other day. And, I mean, some people might be like, why would you be worried about garbage day? Well, like, get your garbage up. But sometimes you can find something that's good in somebody else's garbage. And I'm not ashamed to say that. So like already this year I've managed to, those little kid things you put your kids in and you hook it up to your bicycle, and it's got the little flip over thing. You see like people driving their kids around with it, and you can, okay, well somebody was throwing one of those out. Then I saw this broken snow shovel. So those two things conjured the idea that would be a great towing device for that. And if I hook this up to my adult-sized tricycle, I'd have enough room for vegetables in that kid cart as well as the back of my basket to be able to drive around selling people vegetables off of the bicycle. But with a broken snow shovel and this old, I've modified this thing so that you can kind of do this. But this is what I'm getting at. It's placated this simplistic thing inside of me of know-how, even if it's junk. Or the same thing if I go out and buy a bunch of high-energy magnets and then attach them to a turntable, and I'm playing around with magnetics in my garage. It all placates the exact same thing. One just didn't cost me anything, and I had fun with it, and the other one cost me some money, and I am having fun with it. So to me, that same thing happens everywhere. It depends on how creative you want to live your existence.
Right. And Ed original.
Well, and I think we all have it. We just need to be. I come from a farming background, and I talk about this with my brother. I say, he's a mechanic. He's works for Skills Canada. He's taught for years and years at Central Technical School in Toronto. He loves what he does. He loves the automotive industry. He's been tinkering with cars ever since he was like 12 years old. Why are we this way that we want to mess around with junk and do stuff like that is from farming. And people are like, what are you talking about? How can that possibly be? When you live on a farm and you're on the outskirts of everything and something breaks down, there's no mechanic. There's, in some cases, even the stuff you have to do with animals, you're on your own until a vet can show up. Or electrical issues. There's a problem with your pump. You can't get your hay elevator to work. Your grain elevator is not working. Get out the tools. Find some parts. Weld this. It was always going on. And you kind of get to start to do that everywhere in your life with things. And I like it. It keeps me active, keeps my mind active, and that's healthy for me. You know what I mean? I get the same kind of a inertia, I'm sure, out of reading a book or something like that. But again, it doesn't have that, like I was saying before, hands-on, tactical, I'm doing something thing,
Right. And if people don't know Ed Roman is an excellent gardener. I love all the videos. And I like the cooking ones too, Ed. That might.
I haven't done many of those lately, but I'm going to do a few more now that the winter's here.
Right. But looking back over the videos and things, I'm like, that's so Ed typical.
Well, I mean, and the thing, I love. That's the thing. We were talking about passion before, so maybe people don't care. I don't care that if I talk about cooking a meal or what I'm using or ingredients or why I chose this product or this is from the garden. I'm excited about it. It comes with the same connection to passion, and I'm excited to share it even with my friends or my family. One of the biggest things I love doing is like, my mom, what do you need for Christmas? Nothing. But what do you need, Mom? Oh, some of your potatoes, your carrots, your garlic, your onions, your preserves, whatever they may be. I love that because my mom and dad and grandparents gave me the gift of loving to grow food. To give that back to her at 82 and knowing it's good for her, and she calls me, oh, I had your potatoes for dinner. They were so good. Vindication. Hello, field goal. Somebody ring the big red buzzer. It's great. It's one of the best feelings I have in my life.
Awesome. But and then too, like you said, community-wise, getting out in your community and sharing that with them as well. So see, It all goes
one
together.
One of the things in the local subdivision that's just sort of been built around here is there's this big, huge, unused space, and a couple of the people that we sell vegetables to and talk to their kids about vegetables, we're trying to get the idea of a community garden started there, and that we would help get it off the ground, get things planted, educate some people that want to know about what's going on with food. And that makes sense. Bring the community together, young and old. They're working together, and they're enjoying the benefits of food, and right there, right in front of them. That's pretty empowering, and it feels really good.
Yes, I know it would. Now, Jamaica wasn't. I'm not going to call it a project, but I know that you and Kim do a lot of things over that way, and you want to talk about that?
Well, I mean, that's the thing. We're always doing it, and especially in the summer, spring, summer, and fall, when everything is happening in the garden. I love that feeling of being able to go into town with a bunch of stuff and open up the back of the car or the truck or whatever, or the bike, and people come. And we talk about the food, and we let them taste it. Here, taste these snow peas. Isn't that the best snow pea? Oh my gosh! They'd start calling. Hey, get $20. Come here. It's not even just about making money. The other part of it is seeing people electrified by the idea that we grew this just like down the road, and you can be doing these things, and it's so good for you and healthy. And look at this, like just fodder for conversation, and we both love that about our lives, is that we do share in that passion, and I see it in so many other people that I know my age that are up here doing those things with their kids, or sharing with their neighbors, or because they have so much extra. I mean, even in a small space, you can grow so much food you can hardly keep up with it sometimes. So we are always trying to empower. We have a big vegetable stand. It's not huge, but it's big enough. Put stuff out every year that's fresh and ready. People come and buy. They stop. Hey, when's this coming out? Have you got any corn yet? I like that, and it ties me into the community in a whole other way. That makes me feel alive, really alive.
Sense of fulfillment as well.
Yeah. Big time. Big time.
The Way She Goes. I know that you were promoting that last year. Another good single.
Thanks, Paige.
Yeah. Now that I like that video too. Now I like the videos that are what's the word, produced. I guess that's a good word. Like that, and because of the things that you went through too, it just shows your craft even further.
Yeah, we jumped some fences on that one.
But that was one. Well, do you have a favorite out of all of the songs that you did? What's your favorite one?
Man, that is, geez, Paige, you got me on the spot. It's so hard to answer that because they're all important to me, and everybody and anybody that's been a part of those songs to make them what they are. They're music to me is more than just like I want to be seen and I want to be heard. That's natural for the baby and the family. But to me, it's life experience chalked up, carved somewhere, in a stone. To me, when I look back at other pieces of musical history, whether they be lyric or melody or music compositional, it doesn't matter. They're all reflections of your life experience. And sometimes we're lucky enough that they are the same as others because of the way that we look at it. And I don't want to get overly emotional, but it's quite spiritual and religious to me. And it sort of has that sort of fulfilling feeling of life mission in terms of, the circle, and giving in and feeding it and all of those things. So it's it's life. It's life to me. It's everything to me.
Well, like we said, fulfillment.
I can't give you just one song. Right now it's Red Omen because I just really want to help out a lot of kids.
Right. Wow. I have The Way She Goes. Do we want to play that?
Yeah, let's play it out. I'm in.
All right. Hold on the line.
Thank you, Paige.
All right, here we go.
I could dance a lifetime with my sweet tobacco rose. You could build your nation with dirty hands in denim clothes. And even in our twilight, I think that everybody knows. An open mind, a subtle heart are the only way she goes, and that's the way she goes. Just like an open door or window, that's the way she goes. Just like the bathwater with the baby, that's the way she goes. Too many people acting crazy, that's the way she goes. Have you been singing this song lately? The whistle on your kettle's been chirping, and deep red is the song. Your mortal shackle's been winning battles, I think you've known this all along. The squeaky wheel's been seasoned because the grease price is too high. Just change another channel, it never ever changes, and wave it all goodbye. That's the way she goes. Just like an open door or window, that's the way she goes. Just like the bathwater with the baby, that's the way she goes. Too many people acting crazy, that's the way she goes. If you've been singing this song lately, sha-la-la-la-la-la, we know it's wrong, but we say it's right. Sha-la-la-la-la-la-la, we know it's black, but we say it's white. Sha-la-la-la-la-la, you gotta put up a hell of a fight. Yes, you do. We're somewhere in the middle of the ending. So summarize your fears and woes. It's like a fragrant golden season. It purifies you and your soul. I tip my hat to rebels when the newsman calls him foe. And if you check inside your pockets, you'll find it's all just one big show. But that's the way she goes. Just like an open door or window, that's the way she goes. Just like the bathwater with the baby, that's the way she goes. Too many people been acting crazy, that's the way she goes. If you've been singing this song lately, that's the way she goes. If you've been singing this song lately, that's the way she goes. If you've been singing this song lately, that's the way she goes. If you've been singing this If you've been singing this song, that's the way she goes. That's the way she goes. If you've been singing this song, if you've been singing this song lately, that's the way she goes. That's the way she goes.
You are listening to the Paige Roberts Show on Intercom Radio Network. We are broadcasting live off of Blog Talk Radio. Our call-in number is 646-668-8941. I've been talking to Canadian musician Ed Roman. I should say award-winning Canadian musician Ed Roman. Dirty hands make clean money, Ed.
That's true, from what I've been told. Unless you're like, criminal or something like that. You've got blood on your hands or something. But yeah, it's something my grandfather always used to say, and from what I understand, it's an old world phrase. And the idea you work hard with your hands, the money that you make is honest. So I kind of, understand that. As a musician, you work hard and practice. It's something you do with your hands. It's no different than a carpenter. It's funny, we are talking about the music industry as, people that are like, in our minds, stars, icons, all of those kinds of things that we revere. But one of the things that, like, traveling around, some of the institutions, like the Alpha Boys School in Jamaica, consider music a trade. And to be a good musician means you're working at resorts or weddings or whatever it might be, cocktail reception, and making money, more money than most people that are working at the resorts. And that says a lot, I think, about, the skill itself and the craft itself. People spend a lot of time and their own personal time and sacrifice a lot of time in order to be the kind of musicians that they are. And usually it's an ongoing process. There's always some learning curve. You're trying to get around. Usually it's a result of what you're feeling and hearing in your head and feeling in your heart or what you're learning. So as a result, that curve or that difficulty, once mastered, becomes a skill. And it's, as I say, if you're continually exposing yourself to different genres of music, situations, you're always putting yourself in a good harm's way by testing yourself and putting yourself through those paces. Teaching people one-on-one can have that same thing, because not everybody wants to learn the same thing or work on the same things. And aside from guidance, you should be prepared to be able to play exactly what it is, even if it's something you maybe in some cases don't really enjoy, or it's not really your bag or your cup of tea. So I think that's the thing about that it is a trade, and we work hard at it, and that phrase goes hand in hand for me with that. I mean, I avoided family vacations, time with friends, going to movies with people, countless hours that I spent playing, and it was a safe haven for me when things were bad, when crisis and the proverbial fit was hitting the shan. Go to the guitar, go to the bass, get behind the drum kit, let it out, have that experience where, aside from that you were there maybe gathered as part of frustration, let that moment, let frustration leave you, and as a consequence, listening and paying attention to what's going on then ends up becoming part of the learning mechanism, and no longer are you frustrated. You're actually vindicated because you're learning something and feeling something. So again, it's a conduit for so many things. But yeah, dirty hands make clean money. When I get paid on a gig, I work hard, I use my hands, and I like that.
And I think that too shows, like the venues on where you play at, that it shows them as well about that too.
Yeah, I mean, and live shows are important, and having that connection with an audience is also why we do what we do. I mean, part of writing is one thing, and the studio experience is something completely different. But live is a whole other thing. It has to me this aspect of like you're working. You know, when I'm on a gig, I'm not drinking or doing anything crazy.
Right.
But I am crazy. I mean, I feel like a nut, and I love letting go and having fun. And to me, that's an important moment. Everything, from the moment I load stuff into a car or whatever it is, get in a cab, doesn't matter, that 2 hours before a gig, the gig itself, however long it may last, and even an hour and a half or 2 hours afterwards, all sort of navigates that same 8-hour experience for me. And it's very important to me. It comes with a lot of, like, this is my job. So it's, again, I'm having fun, and you might be having fun, and we may be singing songs, and we may hang out after the gig for a while and talk, or whatever it is. But it's also, I'm very serious about it. So I guess, yeah.
Well, I get it though, but well, Ed, why don't you tell our listeners, our audience, tell us one more time about your Red Omen project and how can we help you with that?
That's an amazing question, and thank you for asking it, Paige. I love you for that.
You're welcome.
The whole project deals with dyslexia and the idea that what we are trying to do is change the idea that dyslexia is not a disability, it's not a problem, it's not a learning issue. All it is it's a different way of learning. And there are some amazing people all over the world and for a long period of time that have been struggling that you may not even know that they have those kinds of issues, but every day they do. And what this song is designed to do is tell my story a little bit. And some of the fanciful things that have occurred in my life and haven't occurred. That's what song and story is about, and good myth. And at the same time, watching the video, talking about the video, sharing the video when it's out, talking about the promotional campaign because of its attachment to positive dyslexia can go a great distance to help further the initiative behind it. In other words, tell people that there's a donation campaign going on when it's out, and where can people go so that they can do that, and what is it about, why are we donating money, or any of those kinds of things. That's the biggest part and hurdle that anybody promoting anything faces as a result of that. Really, another reason why as much time, energy, and money that I've put into this is going wholeheartedly into the campaign is because it navigates and completely completes a mission for me in my life, which is to give back in that bigger way. And so it helps when anybody talks about it. And so if you go to the page, the Red Omen video page right now, you can read a ton of information about what the video's been doing, where it's been showing, what people have been saying about it, what shows I might be on, all sorts of different things. The whole process, every little sketch, drawing. We're releasing new GIFs, which are little clips from the actual video as the months go on. And then, as I mentioned, in the spring of 2019 in Brooklyn, we're going to be doing this kickoff campaign with the live stream of the video, which will then start the campaign, the actual fundraiser. That's where really people can get involved and tell as many people as they can about it, because it's about children's education. I see this as something just as important as food and agriculture. You are giving something to children, not taking something away. You're giving everybody that advantage, including those that may be struggling academically. And I think it's a win-win situation. And if at a point when we don't have to ask people because of the kind of stink we're making about all of this, and we can open a dialogue with the right people, it becomes something that's inherent in the systems here. And education isn't any longer something we have to deal with. It becomes, no, it's in the methods there. It's already been integrated for a couple of years. It's working. There's no divergence. There's no other issues. Let's move on. And I see that as no something that's almost identical to really what education is today. Education has developed as a direct result of the need of what people want to learn and how they want to learn it. If it doesn't change with that demographic, it's not working. So by adding something as simple as this to the system where people don't have to pay for it, or only people that have money can pay for it and other kids that are struggling can't, that's where it really helps everybody. It's now a part of the system. Over, said, done. Let's move on. Ed can be put in the ground. He's a happy man. Right? That's the way I kind of look at it. It's a bigger than me kind of thing, you know, and I'm excited about that.
The gift that keeps on giving.
Right, exactly.
Yep. Well, keep us posted, and I'll try my best to keep up with Ed Roman.
Paige, you are the biggest supporter of mine, and I see you with so many people that you work with and talk about and interview, and you are like a machine out there doing what you're doing. So my, again, hat, 2, 3, or 4 hats are off to you, and everybody else's should be, because we need more people like you, Paige.
Well, I appreciate that. It's going to make me cry.
It's true. I mean it from the bottom of my heart, Paige.
That's awesome. But then there again, that's what we intended the Paige Roberts show on being, is that network, that platform to share the passions like Ed has. And most musicians do have a passion that they work with when they're doing their music as well. So, yeah.
Yeah. Passion is the key, baby.
It is. It has really taken off, and just like you, Ed, that's how I got here too. I'll
do my best Southern accent, so I can give you like a big shout out. Okay, ready? Here we go. So, I tell you, Paige Roberts show, it's got to be one of the best shows on the internet today. And if you don't believe me and that it's all that in a bag of chips, you can take it to the bank.
Hello. Awesome.
How'd you like that? Not too bad, huh?
Yeah, that was really good. I couldn't have done that myself. I might have to use that one, Ed. I might have to cut that out.
I'll do a station liner for you and send that in too. When you send me PM me your address for the CDs and the swag, I'll send you a station liner, a couple of them that are like that.
Yes, please. But as always, Ed, it's always a pleasure talking to you. I love the Ed stories. I appreciate all that you do as well, and wish you all the best on your Red Omen project and the video. I'll be watching, and whenever it comes out, I'll share whatever you got.
Thank you, Paige. And if I get a chance to get down to Georgia, you're gonna be one of the first people I'm gonna be hanging out with.
Awesome. Well, you'll have my address. So. And hey, you never know, Ed. You might. We're doing the live show, so come out and do a live interview with me.
Yeah, I should come down and do a couple acoustic shows, then we could do a live show or something like that one day.
Yes, that would be awesome.
The crazy Canadian, and the Georgia Peach.
Hello, that would be awesome. Well, I think we're going to cut. I have left of your songs. I have I Am Loved, and of course, I know I was introduced with you in the beginning with Comin My Way. It's always been kind of like a warrior song of mine, I guess, if that's what you want to call it.
Oh, that's good. I'm happy about that. I love hearing that kind of a thing because it makes me feel good and great and wonderful, and I could go through a list. When people say that, I've gotten personal messages from some people. I put that song on in the truck when I'm going to work, and it makes me feel so good. I put that song when I love that. I mean, it's part of why I do what I do, because I have those feelings with songs. I wish I could tell some people sometimes, hey, you know that tune man, when I put that song on, I just lose it, because I do. And that's how important I think music is to people. It really can change everything about your day.
It's a good walking song.
Thank you.
So, but as I told you, I finally got my Spotify, so now maybe I can sync it with my phone. Y'all travel with me everywhere. But we'll close out with those two remaining songs. I don't think I have anything else on here. It's hard to find things on the blog.
And don't forget to PM me your address so I can send that out.
I sure will. I appreciate that, Ed, and I wish you well and the best of luck in everything that comes up.
Thank you, Paige. You too.
All right, y'all. Let's go out with this. I Am Loved and Comin My Way. Thank you again, Ed.
Thank you, Paige. Thank you, Georgia.
All right, y'all. Here we go. Bye, y'all.
Bye, y'all.
Bye, Ed.
Any other human being whose cruciform control, no longer in search of meaning, I'll utilize my soul to be a messenger, to be a radical, to be loved, be a messenger. Be a radical, be loved. Falling from the matrix, why is what can set you free? And if you look behind the curtain and then into the mirror, then I think you'll see. Be a messenger, be a radical. Up with us all. The scars that you get each day make you stronger somehow in some way. Look for your own truth in your heart when it's told. You know, it may seem like a coda, but I learned it from my Baba. It's not what you believe, it's what you do. It's what you do. It's what you do. What you doing now? Of an inch, good time. I've been looking every day. I've been waiting for the sunshine. It's been coming my way. And it's been coming my way. I've been dancing at a hold down, loved to the fight with folk. I've been sipping on the moonshine. I've been telling dirty jokes. And it's been coming my way. And it's been coming my way. Tell me, is it leaving, deceiving, relieving me anyway? I'm hard of hearing, believing, the healing, it happens every day. And it's been coming my way. I could write you out a postcard. I could tell you all the news. I've been fighting off the demons. There's no way that I can lose. And it's been coming my way. And it's been coming my way. And it's been coming my way.
Hey y'all, this is Danny Kinsey, and you're listening to the Paige Roberts Show on Intercom Radio Network.